Good morning, children. So now we are in which class, can you tell me? We are in General Science class. So last week I have completed the lesson Fun with the Magnets. So now today we are going to start the new chapter. Okay. So now can you name some of the living organisms, children? Yeah. The living organisms are plants, animals, human beings, insects, many things. So these are all living things, isn't it? Okay. Now why we call them living things? Because they have life in them, isn't it? And what they require, what the living things require for their living, the first thing what they require is food. What they require? Food. Okay. The next, can you tell me what they require? Water. Yes, they require water. The next, they require shelter to live, isn't it? So now, other than this, what they require to live? Only these things we require? No, other than that also we require air, which is very important, isn't it? Without that we cannot live. So in this, now food, we can see the food. We see the fruits, we see the vegetables, we see the grains, isn't it? We can see all these things. Then we tell this is a food, or this is a fruit, or this is a vegetable. Like this we name it, isn't it? Then water, we drink the water, we see the water, isn't it? And we tell this is a water. Then shelter, house, where you live. It protects you from sun, wind, air, as well as the rain. So you will be comfortable when you live in your houses. Even the animals live in the forest and all. So they also need the shelter. Okay. Now air. So can we see air? This is important thing. Air, isn't it? Can we see air? No. So now today what we are going to study is air. So we are going to study about air around us. Okay. So what is air? Air is, the earth is covered by the blanket of air, isn't it? So air is invisible. We cannot see the air, but we can feel its presence. We can feel its presence. So can you tell me, in what way we can see the presence of air? Where do you see or where do you feel the air? So air is invisible, first of all. We cannot see the air. But what we can do? We can feel it. Feel air in many ways. So can you name a few things where you can feel the presence of air? Okay, so leaves of the trees. You have seen, when the air comes, the leaves will be moving or they rustle. So what they tell? Leaves of the trees rustle. Leaves of the trees rustle. Rustle means move. As the air comes, they will be moving. The next one is clothes. Children, have you seen clothes? They will be hanging on the cloth line. They sway. Sway means when the air comes, they will be flying, isn't it? This also shows the presence of air. So clothes hanging on the cloth line sway. Here also you can see the presence of air. Okay. The next, you have seen your book. You might have taken the book, like this book. So when you go under the fan and stand there, under the fan, what happens? Let us see here. See. See here. You are with the book here, keeping here the book, isn't it? So when you keep the book under the fan, what happens? The papers start flying. Now I'll show you few papers. I'll keep here the papers and show you how the papers will be flying. See here. See. The paper flies away when you on the fan, isn't it? So this also shows the movement of air. So presence of air. So where do you see, children, presence of air? When the pages of an open book. What happens to this? When you take it under the fan, it starts flying or fluttering, we tell. So this also shows the presence of air. So we can only see the presence of air and feel it, but we cannot touch it, isn't it? Can we touch it? Can we see it? No, air is invisible to us. Only its presence can be seen when the things move from one place to another. You might have seen the kite. You fly the kite, isn't it? Anytime you can fly the kite? No, only when the wind is blowing or when the air is there, then only you can fly the kite, isn't it? So kite also flies only when there is a air. Then another example we can give is, in the last semester we are studied about winnowing, isn't it? What is winnowing, children? So here in winnowing is a process in which heavier particles are separated and the lighter particles are separated. Okay. So in the last semester you have studied in your winnowing. What is winnowing? In which you separate the heavier particles and the lighter particles separately. In that it is shown sand is separated. Sand is separated from the sawdust. So here also air is very important. You might be knowing, you have done this activity in your previous class or in the previous semester. What was done? Sand and the sawdust was taken, and what they do, to certain height they stand and they take the paper or some made up of wood things, and what they do, they just shake it. As they shake, the wind will be blowing or the air will be moving, isn't it? So because of that, the sawdust will be separated and the sand will be separated. So in this way, this is very useful for the farmers to separate the seeds from the grains. Okay, so this is also, here also you can see the presence of air. Okay, the next, during the storms and all, do you know what are storms? Where the air will blow very heavily, isn't it? And what happens? Everything will be flying. Everything flies. So what happens during storms? During storms also you can feel the presence of air. So here what happens? The roof tops, which will be made up of sheet and all, no? In the earlier days they used to use the sheets and all for the rooftops. So all that will fly away. Even the trees sometimes will fall off because of the heavy breeze. So this will uproot the trees. During storm, the air, because of the air, they uproot the trees. Plus the rooftops will be blown away by the air. So like this we have seen the various examples of presence of air, isn't it? So now we can tell what is air. Air is invisible. We cannot see it nor we can touch it, but we can feel the presence of it when the things move, isn't it? What all we have seen? We have seen the leaves of the trees rustle. Then we have seen the clothes hanging on a clothesline sway. Then we have seen the pages of an open book. We have seen the kite flying. Then we have seen the separation of sand and sawdust by winnowing. Then we have seen that during the storms, what happens due to the heavy air or heavy breeze, the rooftops as well as the trees will fall off. Okay, so here in these many examples we have seen the presence of air. Okay children, so now let us do an activity to see the presence of air. So what is that activity? Have you seen a firki? I don't know. I think most of them have seen. Firki, have you seen? What is firki? Like this. So children, this is a firki. It is given in your textbook. These are the different types of firkis. This is color paper and this is a white paper where I have used. This is also made by one of your classmates only. Okay. So what you have to do, how to make this firki? You see, just you have to move front and back. It will start moving. See. So that shows the presence of air. Like this. See. Back, front. It will start rotating. Okay. This also same thing. Come little here, little. As you walk fast, no? See how it goes. It runs. So it shows the presence of air. Okay, see like this. So children, this is an activity. All have to do it. Okay. What you need for this? First of all, you need a straw. You can use a stick also. Here stick is used. Any stick of the plant, any stem, also you can use it. What you have to do? You have to take a stem. Then you have to take a paper. A4 size paper you can take it. Then you have to cut it. Make like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts and cut it. And opposite sides you have to just pin it. Okay, like this. Or you can use this hard cardboard also here to make a round. How calendar and all you roll it, or the paper sheets you all roll, no? Like that you can roll it, you can use this also. So this is a firki. So can you tell me now, when I am moving, why it is moving like this? See, when I am taking front it is moving. When I am going back again, as I go, again it will start moving. So what makes this firki to rotate? Rotate means moving like this. Why it rotates? What makes it rotate? So this is rotated because there is a air present here, isn't it? So if air is present, then only this firki will be moving. Otherwise, no. So this shows the presence of air. Okay, children. This is a activity which all have to do it. You can do by yourself and see the presence of air, how it makes it to rotate. You will have fun in making this. So this is a firki. This is activity done to show the presence of air. Okay. Now there is another this thing. This is making of simple firki. Then now next is weathercock. Have you seen a weathercock? What is the use of this weathercock? You might have seen a cock, but not a weathercock. So weathercock, this will show the direction in which the air is moving. So what it does? Shows. What does the weathercock do? It shows the direction in which the air is moving. Okay, children. So you have in your textbook. This is a weathercock. So children, you can see in the textbook. This is a weathercock. It is useful for seeing or knowing the direction in which the air is moving. So now we have seen the so many examples of air. Now we have seen so many examples of presence of air. What makes the things to move? It is air. So now let us see, is air present everywhere around us? So what we are going to see now, is air present everywhere? standing here. Is it the air present around us everywhere? So how to know it? Your body only has the air in you. So for this, first what you do, take your right hand and keep in front of your nose. Okay? And breathe. What can you see, children? You will see the air, isn't it? How you are taking in or how it is coming. Or like this you can feel the presence of air. Take, isn't it? See here. Bring closer so that you will know. Okay, this shows the presence of air. Now we are studying about air is present everywhere around us. How to know it? So what you have to do is close your fist. This. Now what is there? For few minutes you close it. Okay. Then you open it. What was there inside? Anything was there? No. You cannot see it, but there is air inside the fist. Okay. Now to show this, let us do an activity to show the presence of air. Though we cannot see it, though it is empty, but still air will be present in it. For this, no, you have to take water in a trough. Okay, I have taken in a vessel. So now, can you see this bottle, children? It is empty. There is nothing in this. No water, nothing. But what is there inside it? How to know what is there? Nothing is there. Okay. Now let us see. Now what you have to do is, you have to invert this bottle like this. After inverting, try to fill the water from this trough. So see, I am bending it, keeping it inverted. Is the water filling in this bottle? No. Can you see? See, water is not at all filled in this bottle. Why it is not filling? Because the air is present inside the bottle and we have kept it inverted. There is no place for the air to escape out. So what we have to do? You have to just tilt a little bit this bottle. Tilt means like this. Then what happens here? See here. When you tilt it, no, see here, bubbles are coming out and the air is going, water is entering into the bottle. So like this you can see how the water will enter into the bottle. So when it is entering, the bubbles are present, are coming out. So these bubbles will show the presence of air in the bottle. Okay, now fill this bottle. Now see here. You can fill completely, you can see the bubbles coming out, the air is coming out and pushing the water to get inside the bottle. So only every empty thing also, it is not empty, it has air inside it. By this experiment we can show that air is present everywhere. Though the bottle was empty, but still there was air, so it was not filling the water. But when we tilted it, the water was filled in the bottle. So now like this you can see the bubble sound. You can do this in your home by yourself and see the activity. Okay children, this is easy to do. There is no need, by yourself you do it and write. So now you have filled the water. So from this activity what we have learnt? So for this activity what you require is one empty bottle and a trough containing the water. Only two things you require it and you can do the activity. So by this activity we learn that air occupies space. Okay, what we have learned from this activity? Air occupies space. Okay, and air is present everywhere, though we cannot see it, but it is present everywhere. Okay children, now next. Now by this what we see? Now we have seen air, bubbles were coming out from the this thing. When you were entering the water into the bottle, the bubbles were coming. Is there any color for the air? No, isn't it? So air has no color. What it is? Air has no color and we cannot see it, but it is transparent. What it is? Air is transparent. We have learned what is transparent. Transparent objects means through which we can see. So here now we have learned that air, from this activity we have learned that air occupies space, then air has no color, then air is transparent. Okay, this we have learned. Now next, let us learn about the atmosphere. What we are going to learn now? The next thing what we are going to see is atmosphere. Okay, what is atmosphere? You have learned in your previous classes. What is atmosphere? A thin layer of air which is above the earth's surface is called as atmosphere. Okay. So the earth is surrounded by a thin layer of air. This layer extends several kilometers from the Earth's surface. Okay. So this is called as atmosphere. Okay. So you have different layers of atmosphere. You have studied in your previous class about stratosphere, mesosphere, all this here. So this atmosphere is important here. So atmosphere is the earth is surrounded by a thin layer of air. This layer extends up to several kilometers from the earth's surface. This is called as the atmosphere. Okay, now you have studied, so now you can think why the mountaineers carry the oxygen cylinders with them. So can you tell why do they carry? What happens is as we move higher from the earth's surface, the air becomes less or rarer, or the oxygen becomes less. So we need oxygen, we need air. In the air already oxygen is present, but still as we are going higher, it becomes less. So the mountaineers carry the oxygen cylinders with them while climbing the mountains because the air becomes less. Okay, now you will get like this. To give the reason and all you may have. Why do the mountaineers carry the oxygen cylinder? So what you have to tell is, as we move higher, the air becomes rarer or less. So the mountaineers carry what do they carry? They carry the oxygen cylinders with them while climbing the mountains. Isn't it? Now next, what is air made up of? Now next we have studied about air is present everywhere. Then we have studied, we have seen the through examples we have seen the presence of air. So now we have to see what is air made up of. So what is air made up of? During 18th century, people said that air is made up of only one substance. But later on, experiments have proved that air is not made up of one substance. It is a mixture of gases. Okay, so which are the gases present in the air, or what are the components, or what are the constituents of air, we'll study. So first let us see the smart board.
A bird needs it to fly. A hot air balloon uses it to rise off the ground. It is air that we are talking about. Air is present everywhere, even inside you. Bring one few palms close to your mouth and shoulder and gently blow. Feel something against your palm. Well, it is air coming out of your body. Even objects that seem empty, for example an empty glass or an empty bottle, contain air. Let us check out this fact by carrying out a simple experiment. Get an empty bottle and a drop full of water. Invert the bottle and place its mouth under the water level in the drop. Now observe carefully.
I have shown you just now, children, you might have seen this.
Water does not enter the bottle. Amazing, isn't it? Now, press down the bottle a bit more. Even now, water does not enter the bottle. Why do you think this happens? Air is everywhere. Remember, the bottle, though seems empty, is filled completely with air. And it is this air inside the bottle that does not allow water to enter the bottle. Now tilt the bottle slightly. You observe water bubbles rising from the mouth of the bottle to the surface. You also observe that water gradually fills the bottle. Any guess why this happens? The experiment thus proves that air is everywhere. Since the entire space in the bottle was initially occupied by air, another fact that can be inferred from the experiment is that air occupies space. In this module, you learnt that air is everywhere. Air occupies space. Air moves the objects. In this module, you will learn that air moves the objects. You must have noticed the movement of leaves when air flows. Also, the childhood fascination Firki.
Children, I have shown you how to make a Firki also. You can make it and do the activity by yourself.
Required items. We require a piece of paper and a straw.
Here they have used a straw. I told you can use the cardboard or you can use the stick also, I have told you, instead of straw.
Take the piece of paper. We will fold the paper to make a Firki. First, fold it diagonally. Then, partially cut it along the diagonals. Then, fold all the four sides in this manner. Fix this in the straw. The filky is ready. Now move it back and forth. What do you observe? The filky rotates due to the movement of air. In this module, you have learned that air moves the objects. Movement of air around the filky rotates it. Empty bottle contains air. In this module, you will learn that empty bottle contains air. Required items: an empty bottle and a tub filled with water. Take an empty bottle. Turn the bottle upside down. Nothing is coming out of the bottle. Now dip the inverted bottle in the tub filled with water. Water does not enter into the bottle. Now tilt the bottle a little. Now the bubbles are coming out and simultaneously water enters into the bottle. Now what is coming out from the bottle? The air present in the bottle is coming out in the form of bubbles. So the bottle was not empty. It was filled completely with air. In fact, it was filled completely with air even when it was turned upside down. This is the reason that water was not entering in the bottle, as the air inside the bottle was not getting space to escape. When the bottle was tilted, the air was able to come out in the form of bubbles, and water filled up the space emptied by the escaped air bubbles. From this activity, we can tell that air occupies space. It occupies all the space inside the bottle. In this module, you have learned that empty bottle contains air.
Now we have to learn about the properties of air. We are seeing the properties of magnets, we are seeing the properties of water. So now let us learn about the properties of air. Already you have learned this in your lower classes. Can you tell what are the properties of air, children? With the experiments you have done this. Properties of air. So the first property of air is just now what we have studied. Air occupies space. Okay. Then the next property of the air is air has weight. And the next property is air exerts pressure. So these are the properties of air. So already we have seen air occupies space. That is, we have seen with an experiment how the water had entered into the bottle. How though the bottle was empty, but it was not really empty. There was air in it, isn't it? So this is one property what we have studied. Air occupies space. And you might have seen in the football and all, when there is no air inside it, what happens? You go to the shop, fill the air and come. So there also you fill the air. There also air will occupy the space. Even in your cycle tires and all, when it becomes puncture and all, what do? Again you fill the air, isn't it? So here these are the examples for air occupies the space. Okay. Now next is air has weight. How will you know air has weight? You had done in your previous classes. What you have to do? You have to take one stick, isn't it? And then you have to take two balloons, blow it and tie it with the thread, and you have to keep it straight. And after some time what you have to do? You have to puncture one of the balloon. What happens? The balloon which is having weight will go down and the balloon which is punctured will go up. So here this experiment shows that air has weight, isn't it? So this you have studied, air has weight. This is example or this is activity which you have to do and see air has weight. Now next is air exerts pressure. So how air exerts pressure? Now for this also you have done the experiments in your previous classes. Now you have seen the medicine dropper, how they put the medicine for the small children, dropper will be there. There you will have a rubber cork, isn't it? So what do you do? That rubber cork, you will just press it like this. It will be empty, isn't it? Then when you press it like this, the liquid will get inside the tube, and after that, that rubber cork will be left off and then they put it inside the mouth. So this is the example for air exerts pressure. Okay. Other than that, even the straw. To drink the cold drinks or to drink the juice and all, you use the straw. What do? You put the straw inside the glass, isn't it? Not completely down, half filled. Then you suck it. That is also nothing but, that is the example for air exerts the pressure. So these are the properties of air. Can you tell now, name the properties of air? The first property is air occupies space, air has weight, air exerts pressure. Here I have given you the example of balloon. The air is filled in the balloon or in the tires or in the ball. Air has weight. We have taken a balloon and one balloon was punctured, and this shows air has weight. Then air exerts pressure. I have given the example of a dropper or a straw which you drink the cold drinks. Okay. Now next let us study about the components or the constituents of air. So what all is present in air? We said air is a mixture of gases, isn't it? So now what is air? You can write, if they ask what is air, you have to write air is a mixture of gases. Not only one gas, but there are many gases. So air is a mixture of many gases. So can you tell me which are the gases present in air? First of all, there is water vapor. Okay. Then you have oxygen. Then you have nitrogen. Then you have carbon dioxide. Then you have dust and smoke. Dust and smoke. Then you have some other particles also other than dust, smoke, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, oxygen and water vapor particles. Some other particles also air contains. So what is air now? Air is a mixture of many gases. Can you name now? What are the gases present in air? Water vapor, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, dust and smoke and other particles. Okay. Now here you have seen water vapor. Now this air is a mixture. Means what? Here it is not only it consists of only one substance or one element. It is both made up of element as well as a compound. Now water vapor. So how water is converted into water vapor? When water is heated, it is converted into water vapor, isn't it? So what is heated first? Water. So water vapor, in the water vapor, what can you see? Water, isn't it? So we have learned in the lesson water. What is the formula for water is H2O. So what is H? Hydrogen. And what is O? Oxygen. So here there are two elements present, hydrogen and oxygen. So more elements, they are known as compound. So water vapor is a compound here. Now what is oxygen? It is O2. The formula for oxygen is O2. O means what? Oxygen. So oxygen is made up of only one substance, isn't it? So it is called as an element. The things or the substances which are made up of only one substance, they are called as element. Okay. Then next is nitrogen. The formula for nitrogen is N2. So what is N2? Again, nitrogen is made up of only nitrogen, only one substance. So that is called as the element again. So now, what are elements? Elements are the substances which are made up of only one substance. That is, oxygen is made up of only oxygen, nitrogen is made up of only nitrogen, isn't it? Now next is carbon dioxide. Now what is carbon dioxide? Can you tell me? Is it an element or a compound? Yes, children? Yeah. Now carbon dioxide. So the formula for the carbon dioxide is CO2. So it is not an element. It is a compound. Why it is a compound? Because here there are two substances or there are two elements. Which are those two elements? Carbon and oxygen. So it is CO2, carbon dioxide. So again this is a compound. Now dust and smoke. So dust is present in air everywhere. And smoke means you have many gases present in the smoke. In the smoke you may have carbon dioxide and many harmful gases also are present. Then other particles means you may have the inert gases also. Do you know what are inert gases? So here inert gases means you will have neon, argon, krypton, xenon. So these are the inert gases. So these are present in the air. So what all is present in the air? In the air, what is air? First of all, air is a mixture of gases. So which gases are present in air? Water vapor, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, dust and other particles. Other particles as well as inert gases I said you. So which are the, can you name some of the inert gases? No? These are inert gases, that is neon, argon, krypton and xenon. So these gases are present in the air. Okay. So now let us study one by one in detail. First of all, let us take the first one. That is water vapor. Okay children, let us start with the water vapor. So the constituents children, now let us study about the components or constituents of air. So first I said, what does air contain? Water vapor, isn't it? Water vapor. The next, oxygen. The next is nitrogen. Then you have carbon dioxide. Then you have dust or smoke. And you have inert gases, I said. Isn't it? Now let us see the composition. So what composition? Definitely in air, how much of water vapor is present, how much of oxygen is present, then nitrogen, then carbon dioxide, dust and smoke and the inert gases. So here the first constituent is water vapor. So here water vapor is present about only 1%. In that also you have dust, smoke as well as the inert gases. So like this is a composition of air. So only 1%. You can see this is only 1%. And constituent of air is oxygen. So how much of oxygen is present in the air? It is about 21%. How much? 21% of oxygen is present in air. Okay. Now next constituent of air is nitrogen. So nitrogen is how much? 78% is of the air contains nitrogen. Okay, so like this 100% it is completed. 78, 21 and 1%. So now this major part of the air contains what? Nitrogen. How much it is? 78%. The next major component is oxygen. How much is oxygen present in the air? 21%. Then water vapor or other gases or the dust, smoke and all, that is about 1%. Okay, so now 8 plus 1 will be 9, 7 plus 2, 9. So 99% of the air contains nitrogen as well as oxygen. So the major constituent of air is what? Can you tell me now? It is nitrogen and oxygen. And only 1% is other water vapor or the other gases as well as the dust and smoke. Okay. So this is about constituents or components of air. Now let us see the smart board. In that we will study about composition of air.
Composition of air. In this module, you will learn about the composition of air, or in other words, you will learn what air is made up of. We can't see air, but its presence is felt with its movement. You all must have observed flying kites and balloons, rustling of tree leaves, and swaying of clouds. Have you ever thought, what makes all these movements possible? Well, all these movements are made possible by the presence of air. We can't see air, but its presence is felt with its movement. Can you guess what air is made up of? Let's perform an experiment to know about the composition of air. For this, let's select a glass straw, some water. To start the experiment, after that, place a candle on the gas jar stand. This does happen because burning of candle at the same time, burning of candle results. The question that arises at this point is, why water has not risen beyond a certain point in the gas jar? The
components by one or more physical methods. Let's now look at the various components of air. Two major components of air are nitrogen and oxygen. Nitrogen constitutes about 78%, while oxygen constitutes about 21% of air. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, noble gases like argon, helium, krypton, neon, and xenon constitutes the remaining 1% of air.
So 78% of the air is covered by contains nitrogen and 21% contains nitrogen. Okay. Now carbon dioxide and water vapor and these inert gases, I said you, argon, helium, krypton, neon and xenon, these are the inert gases. So only 1% is present in the air. So which are the gases present? 1% is present in the air, means you have to write carbon dioxide, water vapor and inert gases, or you can write it as argon, helium, krypton, neon and xenon.
Among the components of air, nitrogen, oxygen and all noble gases are elements. However, carbon dioxide and water vapor are compounds. composition of air you have just seen is just an average composition. It is not the same everywhere and varies a little from place to place and time to time.
So the composition of air is not same everywhere and it varies from the place to place as well as from time to time.
For example, on a damp day, the percentage of water vapor in air is higher than average. In the same way, in an industrial area, the percentage of carbon dioxide in air is higher than average.
So we have told that the percentage of the composition of air is not same.
The
in
composition
all
of
the
air you have
places,
just
isn't it?
seen.
So what happens in some places it is more and some places it is less. So here this is an example. In damp places or on a damp day, what happens? The percentage of water vapor is higher than the average. And the places in the industrial area, the percentage of carbon dioxide in air is higher than the average.
Air holds true only in the case of unpolluted air. The composition of air in case of polluted air is different, as certain harmful gases called pollutants add to the air, changing its composition. For example, on a damp day, the percentage of water vapor in air is higher than average. In the same way, in an industrial area, the percentage of carbon dioxide in air is higher than average. Another important fact is that this composition of air holds true only in the case of unpolluted air. The composition of air in case of polluted air is different, as certain harmful gases called pollutants add to the air, changing its composition.
So here in this module we have seen that this composition of air, where there is pure air, only this is the composition. If the air is not pure or it is polluted, means what is the meaning of polluted? When it is mixed with the harmful or the poisonous gases, children. The time the air becomes polluted, so there the composition will change. If the air is pure, the composition will not change and the composition will be same as you have seen just now on the smart board.
In this module you have learnt air is a mixture of gases surrounding the air. The components of unpolluted air includes nitrogen 78%, oxygen 21%, carbon dioxide, water vapor and noble gases 1%. The composition of air varies a little from place to place and time to time. Pollutants change the composition of air.
Okay. Okay children, today what all we have learnt? We have learnt about the air around us. This chapter I have taken and we have seen the presence of air. We cannot see air but we can see its presence through various examples I have shown you. I have shown you how the firki, what makes the firki to rotate. It is the air again. Then we have done the experiment of air occupies the space. Then we have studied what is air made up of. What is air made up of? Then we have learned the properties of air. Then we have seen the components present in the air and the composition of air. So the remaining lesson will be continued in the next week. Please read the lesson thoroughly and try to do the activities and write your own observations. These are easy activities what you can do by yourself. Okay, please read the lesson. Have a nice day. Thank you.